Hi, friends. Today's episode is going to be talking about starting something new in the midst of uncertainty and becoming in the midst of uncertainty. Right now, obviously, I'm a retired professional athlete. I started a master's program. I'm in the midst of getting different certifications. I'm posting on social media in a way that I never have before. I don't have the same, right now I'm in a journey where the outcome and the path is like really unpredictable. Um, I think when I had started, I was super motivated by the whole start your own thing, launch your thing, post the thing. And it was so motivating. And obviously, I'm a very practical person. So I definitely like weighed all the risks and thought things through before I really took those steps forward. But I definitely had to think things through before I actually took those steps forward. I think that what isn't exactly talked about is the fact that when you do start the thing and when you do post the thing, there's like this eerie silence and this weight of like, okay, like this is really where the work begins. And I think, right, some people have like instant gratification. And for those of us who have delayed gratification, it is kind of just like a little eerie. It is a little weird at times. And I think that, um, I think that the feeling doesn't really get talked about. I think it goes from when you start the thing, you reap from the thing, but it kind of skips like the ups and downs of the in between. And because the reality is when you start, that's where the work begins, not exactly where the vision is attained. When you start something, there's a long road ahead, and there is some delayed gratification of starting the thing and when you actually reap from the thing. And so I think that that definitely is something that has been brought to the forefront of my experience and journey with all of this. It's definitely fun and inspiring and motivating, but at the same time, there is like, hey, not right now. Like, you may not see the fruits of everything right now. And so, being able to sit with that is super important when you are starting something and you're not 100% sure of the results. Right now, I kind of feel like, that story in the Bible of Simon or Peter, and they were walking on water. He was walking on water, and he was supposed to be looking at Jesus or God, and he took his eyes off Jesus and started looking around him, and that's when he began to sink. And so, in this situation, I'm like, I have the vision in mind, but if I start looking at the fact that, ooh, this won't start until a year and a half, or I can't get this done until this is over, and I'm not able to move through with this until I'm done with this meeting. And so if I start looking at all that stuff, I may lose sight of what it is I wanted to do, what it was that got me so passionate and motivated to start this thing. So I think it's so important to have tunnel vision on the vision, to have tunnel vision on what got you to the point of wanting to start this thing and constantly remembering it in the trials and the good times. I think that that's what's been pulling me through is like every time I'm like overwhelmed or frustrated, I'm like, okay, man, like I keep having this vivid image and vivid vision in my mind of what this is going to be and what's going to happen. And I just have to trust that. Like whenever you are super focused and you are tunnel visioned on the vision, you're able to endure more. I think I think God has also helped me, every time I'm like, oh no, like he really centers my vision on the goal at the end of the day. I think that um in the midst of all of this, there has been times where there has been moments where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm aligned. Like I'm doing exactly what it is I'm supposed to do. And there's also times where I don't understand. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I tend to be really tunnel visioned on the when it hits, when it aligns, when it makes sense. And I definitely observe the moments where I don't feel exactly aligned or feel kind of confused, and I take note. But like I think focusing in on what's going well and what's aligning is super pivotal in this journey for me personally. And this journey, it can be a little lonely. And it's not lonely because I don't have support, but it's lonely because I'm the only one that has the vision, if that makes sense. I'm the only one that sees it clearly. And am able to carry it out in the way that I know it, in the way that I want it to be. So it can be lonely in that sense of like doing all these things and probably have some people not really understanding why you're moving like this or why you're doing this, and like it only making sense to me. So that can be very lonely at times. I specifically remember when I was workshopping all this and having different conversations and having different meetings and bouncing different ideas off of people. I was so excited. It was so cool. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so fun. This is so exciting. Like I can't wait for this to come to fruition." And then I started and I was like, "Whew," like centered me real quick, but like not in a bad way. Like it's still exciting, it's still fun. I still think about those moments and I still think about those things, but again, the real work has begun. I think what has been super pivotal in this time has been my execution speed from idea to action. I think that's super important, not really spending too much time overthinking the idea that came. Like it's not like I thought of the idea, the idea came. And so I think I moved really fast from idea to action. Um, I've had like little glimpses of this vision like in the last few years. And then when I decided to stop playing, I started feeling a lot more pressure. And then I just think it's funny how my life works out. I was my friend who's also launching her own business told me to hit her business consultant up, but don't hit her up until you're actually ready. And I was like, okay. So I wasn't planning to reach out. And I was like gonna avoid it. And I just wanted to like make sure I was ready and probably knowing me, overthink it for another 2 months before I actually hit her up. And so one day when I was going to the library to like do some workshopping to make sure I had something for this lady, I see her and my friend at the library that my friend doesn't even live near the library. It was just insane, and I saw her and I said, "Hi," and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is who I wanted you to connect with." And we made a meeting and we connected, and then it's been full force, and she's been super encouraging and inspiring to me throughout this whole journey, just affirming me and challenging me and pushing me. So I definitely appreciate her and how that came to be. I think one thing that I've learned is also, I mean, you learned it in life, I've learned it through sport, but how important it is to be adaptable and like willing to change and not holding too tight to your ideas and your vision. I think that I do have there's some things that I don't move on, but there's a lot of things that I do move on because the world's changing, interactions are changing, meetings changing. Like there's so many things that create change that I can't stay still. It wouldn't really make sense for me to stay still. I mean, the human experience is quite literally a contradiction. Like one day I'm this and one day I'm not. And then one day I'm like this in this situation and then another day I'm like this in this situation. So I think I've been really adaptable and able to like shift and move on different ideas that I had, and just being really flexible and not being too attached to it has been super important for me because sometimes I think a lot of us can be very like controlling and like wanting something to be such a certain way. And so definitely have had to release that simply because it causes me too much stress. And if you know me, I prefer it the not stress way. I think I've gotten really good at sitting in the uncomfortableness of uncertainty. I honestly find it a little funny and amusing. I'm just kind of like, wait, like what's actually gonna happen? Like I kind of can see it, but I really don't know what God has in store, like what it will end up being. You know, your ideas are like this small compared to what God has. So I just kind of like laugh because I'm like, what's actually gonna happen here? And I think I'm able to have that sort of posture because what's gonna happen is gonna happen whether I stress about it or not. So I rather not stress about it. Ever since starting, I've gotten a lot of clarity. I've had a lot of alignment conversations. I've had a lot of confusing conversations and doubtful conversations. But again, it's so important to focus on the ones that align. You know what I mean? I think it's so easy to focus on the doubtful ones or the confusing ones, but I'm choosing to focus on the ones that it's just like we're clicking, it's making sense, and I can really see. It's like I'm seeing one foot go in front of the other. And so I definitely focus on those conversations and definitely take note of the conversations that are confusing and doubtful and all that stuff. So all of it together, but definitely more of this than this. I've never been too interested in spending too much time on what's not working and what's confusing to me because I think it's a distraction and I think it gets in the way of what I'm trying to do. So, again, focusing on the ones that align, focusing on the ones that confirm and affirm and reassure is definitely my movement right now. The goal is to really like encourage people to do it, but be ready. Like, don't go into it like all lolly lolly dolly. And it's not like I did not, because I was very aware of just like how these things move. But I think it's so important to go into things being very real. Do not and I think it's important to question your intentions. Are you doing this because you actually want to do this, because you actually think it's really good and you have passion behind it? Or are you doing it because you just think it's going to go well, or you just know it's going to go well because that's what the trends are saying? That's what's happening right now. Or are you doing it because you want affirmation and confirmation from the world and validation from the world? Or do you actually want to do this? I think that's so important to like really sit down and be real with yourself. Like, what am I doing this for? What is my intention behind doing this? Because if you have solid intentions, what can really get in your way? If you have a solid place of where you're coming from, obstacles eat them up. You know what I mean? I think that also not attaching yourself too much to it is also super important, because what if it doesn't go well? What if it does fail? Are you going to be like, I'm a terrible person, I suck, I'm a failure, and you're going to run away from the world? Because I don't think that you have a healthy relationship with what you're doing if that's the case. I think you do need to have some space between you and the thing. Like, you're you, and this is just your idea coming to life, and it either is going to go well or it's not going to go well. And I think that how you feel about when it's going well or if it's not going to go well is really important. If you think if it goes well, you're the best ever and no one can touch, you know what I mean? Some ego in there. And if you think that doesn't go well, you're the worst, and you like, again, another like security issue. So again, man, question yourself. Why are you doing this? What are you doing it for? What do you think is on the other end of you doing this thing? Um, and monitor your answers and see if it makes sense for you to keep moving towards the direction that you're going. Because at the end of the day, if I fail, I live to see another day. I failed on national television and I've lived to see every day since, and I've lived great. So you have to be detached from it. Like, when it goes well, mm, when it goes bad, like, you know what I mean? Straight observational, straight experimental is my motto. Not saying being detached is easy, but it's necessary. I think you need to think about it like drinking your water in the morning. Like, it's just something you got to do. Don't think about it too much, but just know it's good for you. I don't know. That's just kind of how I have to think about it, because again, it's not easy, but it's necessary. You just have to be able to move on, because it's really not that deep. I think what is deep is that you do you to the fullest extent. No fear, no worry. I think that that's what's deep. Um, the outcomes of it, I don't think you can attach too much emotion to it. You have to be able to sit with your desires and your wants in a practical way. You have to know what people like about you, what people want from you, what people don't like about you, and how to move and maneuver this world in a way where it's yours. I think that's so important. Where you can take control and it really can become your world. You're not just a person who's reacting. You're the motion man. I think that that's I think that that's super important. Like, knowing your wants, knowing your desires, standing 10 toes on them, moving about them in a practical way, and seeing what happens and not being attached to the outcome. I say this all the time. You have to treat life like a science experiment sometimes. You are simply the observer, and you also are like what's the word? What's the scientist that like does stuff to the subject? Like, you're the observer and you're also the tester. You're going to test some things out and you're going to observe and you're going to make moves and you're going to make changes based off of those tests and observations. It doesn't have to be deeper than that. Never decided to put Mentos in a Coke bottle. They just wanted to see what happened. They saw what happened. And like, you know what I mean? Like, my examples are always so random, but like, I don't know, it makes sense in my brain. Like, just see what happens. Do the thing and see what happens, and don't be too attached to the outcome. And if you like the fact that when Mentos in the Coke bottle and you liked what it did after, keep doing it. You know what I mean? It makes sense to me, so I hope it makes sense to you guys too. I think it's also super important when you are stepping out on faith and trying something new to really align yourself with people who are kind of in the similar mindsets or like doing similar things. I think that if you're surrounding yourself by people who are taking big risks and trying new things and launching their own thing or just doing something different and new in life, I think it's super important to be around those people, especially when you're trying to do something new. I think it's really dangerous to the vision and to the dream when you're around people who speak fear and speak doubt and who are nervous to take steps in their own life because that can bleed onto you. It's so interesting depending on what season you're in life, who comes and who goes. And I think it's super important to, again, detach yourself from it, but also like hone in on the relationships that ground you, hone in on the relationships that inspire you, that motivate you, that like you see her doing this and you're like, I gotta level up, or I see him doing that and I'm like, I gotta do this too. Like, and I think that it's super important to surround yourself with those types of people because I don't know, you are the sum of the people that you're around. So I think that it's so important to be around people that motivate, support, inspire because it's a part of the journey. Like, we need community. Do what you want, treat it like an experiment, and do not be attached to the outcome. It will do you wonders in this life. You will move fast. The quickness between idea, action, and reaping might be faster. You never know. And I hope that throughout any journey in your life, you're graceful with yourself, you're patient with yourself, and you find a way to enjoy not just the good times, but also learn from the pain, learn from the hard times, appreciate the hard times, being able to enjoy the pain and pleasure of the process. I hope this doesn't seem heavy, but I always got to be real about my experiences. And although I'm having such a good time and I'm doing so many new things and meeting so many cool new people and just feeling a lot more aligned in life and who I am and my identity, I think that it also comes with a lot of confusion. I mean, I'm stretching, my brain is stretching, my brain is working in ways it never has. And like, I'm growing, I've changed, I'm learning every single day, but like, my lifestyle hasn't caught up to it. So it can kind of be confusing in that tension. It's so interesting and annoying and fun, but also just so annoying at the same time. But again, I like to focus on the fun and the interesting and the entertaining aspects of it. Like, it's so interesting because I am the person with everything in the vision, but I just haven't attained everything in the vision. So it's just a weird little tension. It is. And I don't have all the answers right now. I think that delayed gratification is key. I think that volleyball and sports in general just teaches you this. Like, we practice all year long, all year long. We start in January and then we go until August, and that's just when season starts. And then we still practice, we still do all these games, but we all do it to train for this one moment that only one team gets to really experience. Talk about delayed gratification, and most of the times except for one team, you don't get the natty, you don't get the championship, you don't get the number one. Like, it's so interesting, and sports is just so cool in that sense of like the way that it teaches you. It's such a microcosm of life, which I'll get into in my next video. But I've always loved the grind. I've also loved the big stage, but you really learn how to fall in love with the grind because the grind is most of it. So, um, also stepping into this new journey, I'm honestly nervous for this big stage in this area of life because it's something so foreign to me. Um, but I'm sure I'll be ready and do whatever I need to do when it gets to that time. But I love the grind. I love the workshops. I love the meetings. I'm not exactly loving the videos that I'm doing right now, but I'm trying to find ways to really make it real authentic. And even though I don't love the videos, that's okay. I'm gonna still post them and I'm gonna still record them because why not? But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys in our next video where we'll be talking about sports, National Girls Woman in Sports Day, and just my journey in volleyball and also transitioning to what I'm doing now. See you guys.